Hi everyone, this is Nancy Damiano, Garden Girl at 2 Peas in a Bucket, with my first installment in the Moments video series. And this series is basically about scrapbooking things in our lives that are worth documenting. And for me, it usually starts with events or photographs from events. These pictures are from our annual visit to the Christmas tree farm. Same series of pictures that I've probably been taking for years, but the thing that stood out was the date. And these were taken one day after the shootings at Sandy Hook. And I wanted to document more about what I was feeling and what I was thinking on that day rather than the series of events of that day. And so I chose these two photos of my husband and son because I wanted to journal from a perspective where I was speaking to them. And then the photo on the right just shows a great shot of the Christmas tree farm, so it gives us the place of where we were at. I pulled just two pattern papers this time, a wood grain from Glitz and also another wood, white, and blue design from Echo Park. And they went well with my photos, and I'm keeping it a really clean and simple palette. A few embellishments, mostly from Daily Flash, October Afternoon, some gold rub-ons from Studio Calico, and chipboard also from October Afternoon. Now I chose this darker wood print for the foundation of the layout, and that'll give me a nice contrast. Now I have a general idea of what I'm going to do here. I had made a rough sketch, so I knew I was going to do a lot of white and snowflakes to keep with the mood and the event of the Christmas tree farm. So by basing it all on this dark color rather than say the lighter wood print, gives me a nice contrast. Now I'm going to block out a big portion of this wood paper with just plain white cardstock, and that just gives me a nice frame around the edges. I'm going to layer the photos and then start placing some of my snowflakes up at the top. These were cut with a silhouette in 3 different sizes. They range from 1 inch, I believe, to like 2 1/4 inches. I'm going to cut a strip of this woods pattern paper and lay it across the bottom, and I did that to provide a grounding place for my 2 photos, so they're not just floating out there. I'm going to trim this strip of paper. Trimming that pattern paper lets that shape breathe, so you can just see a little bit of the wood pattern paper on the left and right sides. And that gives it a more layered look rather than a really straight graphic look. It softens the edges just a tiny bit. It's a really small change, but it does make a difference. Now, after I have my layers down, most of the paper layers down, I like to get a general idea of where the journaling and title are going to go. And since I have this nice blank spot in this photo here where it's kind of a white washed out sky, this is a good place to layer down my photo. Now that I made that decision, I can make some pencil marks, and I can place my journaling right in that spot right there. And I'm going to run the entire thing through my printer, which I usually don't do, but I had already stuck down that white paper, so I had no choice. But it worked out. Now I've scattered some of these snowflakes up at the top and down at the bottom of the layout. I basically want to repeat the elements. So we have this really intricate snowflake pattern at the top, and I just want it to peek out at the bottom just ever so slightly. So these were cut out with a silhouette. If you don't have a silhouette, I would suggest using snowflake punches if you have them. I think the most important part is having a lot of different sizes. And also I think Maya Road or Basic Gray makes wooden snowflakes. They would probably give you the same effect. Another tip I can give you is I wouldn't keep it all white. Maybe it's just me because I like color. Not that gray is such an exciting color, but I did change it up a little bit by adding 3 light gray snowflakes. So to me, that just makes it not look so flat. Another thing is I usually have the snowflakes touching the ends, also overlapping on the wood paper, and also if you look on the bottom, it overlaps the journaling just a little bit. So that just helps your eye follow the design and keeps it all connected. Now getting these down takes a little time, so we'll fast forward a little bit here. And you can watch the process in hyper speed. Now there I was just measuring to make sure that I was tucking those snowflakes low enough that they would be covered a little bit by the pattern paper. And I'm going to trim that one just a bit because it looked a little sloppy to me hanging off there. Now I'm going to start the title, and I'm not sure if you can see it on the video, but I have right there a plastic Klingon sheet that came from an old package of stickers. I use this all the time to measure out the spacing and to see if a title really works in the space that I'm thinking. So that's what it's placed on there, and I can also shift it around without having to pick up the letter stickers over and over. Now I place the title there to take up the spot, and also the title kind of points right to the picture that I want you to look at, and it overlaps that picture of my husband and my son, almost like an arrow would. Now, these are gold ribbons, and I love the saying on here. It was one of the first things that I picked from my stash, and it says, "You are my moon and stars," and that's why I continued and everything. And so that is a perfect spot for the first line of the title. But before I commit, I'm going to take another look, and I'm going to slide this 4x6 aqua card. It has the days of the week running up the side, and that just adds a little punch of color, which I think I really needed, and it adds another layer, and it also makes that photo that I really want you to look at stand out just a bit more. I'm going to go ahead and start gluing down all of the layers. I'm pretty happy with the way this looks. This part of the design process is almost like putting a puzzle together for me. And so when we get to this point, I'm finally ready to make a commitment. It's because I took a look at it and it looks balanced to me, and I can see the way that the layout is going. I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back and add a few more final embellishments. I'm ready to finish up the title. Now I've cut off part of the rub-on sheet that I want to use. It makes it much easier to work with it this way. And it looks like I'm rubbing really hard, but I'm not. It's just because of the sped up video. You want to do this gently, because if not, you're going to mark up your photo. It's going to make dents in it. And you want to be careful with rub-ons. They're not very forgiving. Here you can see a close-up shot of the nice gold look that they have. Looking at the layout, I see that I have a great spot here to add an embellishment, and I'm going to use this nice heavy chipboard embellishment, and that's going to contrast with all the delicate things that I have going on up at the top. And also because it repeats the color, the nice aqua color, I need another little pop of color there. Now to fill up the frame, I'm going to use some flare, and I decided to keep it gray, keeping in with the color scheme that I already have going on. And it also says true story, which I like. And then adding this little wooden trim here, it looks almost like a shelf. Now this repeats the wood pattern paper, and it connects that photo, and it gives the frame a little resting spot there on the layout. Now this little spot is a great place for some embellishment. So I'm going to add another layer. I'm going to use, these are pop dots from October Afternoon. Before I put it down though, I am going to use this spot to add a stamped date. And that's something that I've been getting in the habit of doing over the past 2 years probably, because while I don't scrap in any particular order, I keep my scrapbooks in chronological order, and this just helps me to put layouts away a lot quicker. I always thought I would remember how old my son was in every photo, but that fades fast. If you don't want it as part of your design, you could also stamp the back of the layout, and that way you always know what date the photos were from. I'm going to keep it gray here. I don't want it to stand out too much. Keep it subtle. And then I'm going to add a little pop of red right to the center of that snowflake. And one more little item in red, which is a little red heart, enamel heart. And so now we have the red in the 3 spots: my son's shirt up at the top of the snowflake and the bottom right of the heart. And that completes our page. I love merging stories with design. It's my favorite part of scrapbooking. I really hope that you've enjoyed this installment of the Moments video series. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and thanks so much for watching.